to the June Mountain Mobility Working Group. Jessica is not able to join us today, so I will be facilitating. We'll go ahead and start with just the welcome and kind of warm up here. So the question is, what is your favorite and least favorite part of summer? Reba, we'll probably start with you since you just said happy summer, so it's on your mind, obviously.
My favorite is just getting out in the nature and enjoying all the wildness of Colorado and not having to worry about being too cold.
Yeah.
My least favorite is that it goes by way too fast.
Yeah, it
Can't
does.
believe that June is almost over.
Yeah, I know. Next week. Yeah. What about you, Tom? What's your what's your favorite and least favorite part of the summer?
It's hard to not like it up here. It just is, we haven't hit any 90-degree days. We barely hit 80 up here.
Yeah.
It's just super pleasant. We wait all year for it, and then it's not here. And then I travel someplace else. I think I like being home in the summer.
Yeah. That's
But the
nice.
least I think is some of the traffic in Boulder gets pretty gross, especially when the students come back.
Yeah, that's true. But they start increasing the bus service, so I get a little bit more.
Yes.
It's good. Yeah. What about you, Lisa?
I think my favorite thing is all the trees have their leaves and all the flowers. Warm weather. I like it warm. I don't care for the snow and cold. And my least favorite, I agree with Reba, it goes by way too fast. If it could just, time could just slow down a little bit.
Yeah. If we only had that control, that'd be great. Bob, what's your least and favorite part of the summer?
The beginning, least the end.
That's great. I love it. Yeah. For me, I think that my favorite part of the summer is just all the activities and like community events. And then my least favorite part is the heat. I'm not a heat fan. I like it. Maybe I should move to Netherlands because I think 80 is about the upper limit of like the temperature that I enjoy.
Yeah, I'm in the same place. It's coming up. You're welcome anytime.
Yeah. I don't know if I could afford to move up there, but it'll be maybe I'll think about it in the back of my head if I win the lottery. Yeah. Okay, well, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the mountain rides update. So Bob, I don't know if you want to start with the mountain rides update.
Well, we started the Saturday service on June the 7th. And so now we're doing 4 days a week. I think the ridership is doing really well. I think the riders enjoy it a lot. Tom has offered to provide some water for not only the drivers, but passengers. By the way you're talking, being cooler up there, you might want to offer some coffee too.
Yeah, we will.
The food pantry is a full service.
Yep.
Full service organization. Coffee,
Right.
tea, water.
We can't do food. We don't really want eating on the bus, but liquids will be okay.
Excellent.
Proper liquids.
We're kind of long on pineapple, maybe some daiquiris.
Oh, okay.
That's funny. Okay, well, I know that we talked about the Ozone Season Transit Grant and the local match for that. So just kind of give an update. Tom attended the NEPADAC last week, and the NEPADAC recommended that we get the $2,000 local match from the NEPADAC fund. So I still need to talk to Landon and Nick and then our attorney about that. So just so you know, we're in a point of transition. So Alex's team is transitioning like the transportation demand management programs and projects over to Mobility for All, and Mobility for All is transitioning the transit programs over to his team. So we've kind of been in this transition for a while now, as his team kind of ramped up, with Paul and Akia. So it just makes sense for his team to oversee some of the transit operations. So we're still working out the details of the NEPADAC. So our team is going to be facilitating that advisory committee. So it'll be me and Melissa. And then his team will be contributing because there's like more and more operations associated with NEPADAC. But we still need to talk about that $2,000, and I'll follow up via email within the next week or two. So,
Thank you.
yeah, great. Any questions that Via has about the local match and the $2,000 and where it's going to come from?
No,
No.
we're good.
Okay, great. And I did find out that like the $82,000 check, we still haven't processed it on our end. So that was like the 2024 local match for you, the 2025 local match for you. So that's coming. I had to, since the line item in the budget was 40,000 for this year, and I had talked about 2,000 more for that extra time when you all weren't planning on operating, but we weren't able to get the communication out in time. So I'm just trying to do a line item transfer to make sure that like that's covered. But that should be within the next week or so that you should get that check, hopefully.
Okay, great. I'll let Bill know.
Yeah, wonderful. And then if we don't have anything else for mountain rides,
I have
I'm looking.
one quick question, Angel, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I was curious if you guys are getting age ranges or like have an idea of that kind of demographics of the mountain rides participants.
I
So
don't track that.
yeah.
I don't track it.
Or do you have an idea of whether they're more older adults or is it like mixed always or?
Yeah, they're usually older.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my experience in riding. They tend to skew older. People that probably shouldn't be driving anymore.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
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 And I know that Nick had talked about doing a survey. I don't think that he actually did a formal survey. I think he just rode and talked to people a little bit. So I'll follow up with Nick and see if he has like a little summary of what he found out. Yeah, so.
That'd be great. Thanks.
If you really want to try it, Angel, next time you come up for NEPADAC, take a ride. I'll go with you.
Yeah, it'd be great. That'd be a great outing. I don't think I can do it next month, but just so you know, Tom, I think we're going to propose at the next NEPADAC meeting, switching the time to the second Wednesday of the month, 4 to 5. So I don't know if that has a conflict, but we'll do it via email.
Angel, I'm retired. It doesn't help, doesn't hurt me.
But there are other people on the committee it might impact.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Let's give them as much advance notice as possible.
Yeah. Okay. I will send it out as soon as we do as soon as we finalize the meeting minutes.
Okay.
I think that Melissa's going to propose it in that. Great. So I would love to take a ride. It'd be great. And on that note, actually, I'll save it for general updates. But Tom, I know Grace said that you would probably be able to provide an update on the volunteer driver program, and I can fill in anything that you're not able
Yeah. When I met with Grace on Monday this week, we talked about to stand it up faster than we might be able to otherwise, using somebody that's already in the business. Peaceful Rides up here in Netherlands. He's got 5 vehicles. They're all ADA accessible. He's got about 50% of his slots booked, which leaves some for us, which gives us a couple. I'd like to get this stood up in no later than mid-July if we can. He's got the insurance, and then he's also Medicare certified. When we met with Reba last week, one of the concerns came up over have they been trained not to go into clients' houses and things like that they may expect, but are verboten if they're not properly trained and certified. So yeah, I'm going to work some more with Grace on getting the word out, once I'm sure that this is kosher. And then, Angel, I'm watching for an MOU to bring it over here to the food pantry.
Yeah.
Because I really, really want to get this rolling. No pun
Yeah.
intended.
So just so I don't know if how much we got into it previously. So the town of Nederland is handing off the program administration for the volunteer driver program to the Nederland Food Pantry. So we're in the process of starting, because we're wrapping up the Dr. Cog grant that ends next week. And then we have some money for the local portion of the project to be funded. And so the food pantry is going to be the house, which is the initial organization that we had proposed in the grant. As far as peaceful rides, I think that we need to have like a in-depth discussion about like what is a I mean, is it going to be a volunteer driver? Like they would volunteer but use the peaceful rides vehicles. I guess just in general, because there's like different liabilities depending on if it's a paid service versus a volunteer service.
Yeah, it's paid, and I'd like to wind it down as fast as possible while we get some more volunteers in. There's volunteer in the title, and
Mhm.
volunteer is the intent of the program.
Yeah, okay. So it's just to like kind of get it rolling, and if you don't have the volunteers, you would
Yeah.
like you would do like a voucher with that service.
Yeah, and I want to have a plan B so that nobody gets turned away.
Oh yeah. So it's plan B for no. Okay. That's great.
Yeah, and in regards to the meeting, with the seniors, we weren't gonna put it out to our community until we had a better understanding of, because most of our people might utilize it for going to medical appointments
Mhm.
and what that looks like, and that
Yeah.
could be pretty big. And if they found out that there was a free service for that.
Yeah. So it's the paid service is temporary until there are enough volunteers. And then also it's potentially a plan B after like when you're in the operations of the volunteer program as a backup. Um,
And then, Reba, going forward, since he's set up with Medicare, which, having been through the process, is extremely tedious. He may be able to keep working with them, and be reimbursed by Medicare.
So Tom, that's one clarification that I just wanted to talk about, and I haven't talked to Chris for a while about
Yeah.
this, but it's Medicaid is the like because Medicare doesn't pay for transportation.
That's correct.
Um,
I know that. I should know better.
No, it's
I'm
right. I always
Medicare.
confuse them too. But that's the thing is even if he is a Medicaid provider, the
Yeah.
seniors still have to go through TransDev Health Solutions, the former IntelliRide, to be able to get placed with him. But they could say, Reba, that he is their preferred, or that Peaceful Rights is their preferred Medicaid provider. So if you have the seniors that have Medicaid as a backup, right? Because Medicare is usually the primary, and then Medicaid can be the secondary if they're low income seniors. They could still register for IntelliRide / TransDev Health Solutions, and then ask for him to be their primary provider.
Okay, and so with like if our clients want to utilize the volunteer drivership program, do they need to contact a transportation service that accepts Medicaid first before they use that? Or how does, like, what is,
Since
will
it's
that-
unreimbursed, it's a non-issue.
Okay.
We won't be charging.
Okay, I just didn't know, like, I don't know how inundated it's gonna get, I don't,
Mhm.
because if our people are now paying for it through Peaceful Rides and they find out
Mhm.
they can get a ride for free, what's that gonna look like for Peaceful Rides? And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like how
So
all that will look.
yeah, I guess I think that we always have this assumption that people are going to change their behaviors like super quickly, right? And they'll just like switch when there's either a free service or something else. But the reality, like what we've seen, is that people are slow to make the switch, right?
Okay.
And so I think an example is we always kind of overestimate the interest. So for the business Ecopass program, for example,
Mhm.
up in Netherlands, we told RTD that there would be 1,200 people that could potentially get Ecopasses.
Mhm.
Well, we currently only have about like 300 to 400, right?
Mhm.
So like we're paying more to RTD because we didn't know how many people would
Uh-huh.
uptake. And then I think we also ran into this with like a Lyft pilot that we did at a housing authority site. We were giving them $50 in credits on Lyft. And we thought that like we would run through our budget in no time, right? We thought it would be like a year. We'd
Mhm.
spend $24,000, but it really took us 5 years to spend the $24,000 because people just didn't change their behavior
Got
that
it.
quickly. So I don't know, like I understand what you're saying, but I also think that people don't always just quickly change what they're doing.
Well, I know that there's a struggle to find transportation to doctor's appointments for a lot of them, but
Mhm.
the other question I had was, okay, you said to go through IntelliRide first,
Mhm.
and then if they want to preface that they want Peaceful Rides as their driver, is IntelliRide, was my understanding it was just for like disabled and handicapped.
No,
No,
so Intelleride is for anybody who's on Medicaid. Well,
okay,
maybe not anybody. There's some waivers that they don't get Medicaid non-emergency transportation. So they have to apply, if they have Medicaid, they have
okay,
to apply to fill out the paperwork with Intelleride
okay,
slash, it's called TransDev Health Solutions now. And then they'll tell them if their waiver that they have, if they're on a waiver, covering, if their waiver covers transportation.
okay,
Um, and then once they do that determination and they're in the system, then they would just need to call IntelliRide whenever they have a doctor's appointment. And during that time when they're signing up initially, they can say that they have a preferred provider.
okay, okay. Thanks for
Yeah.
that update.
And we can talk, I know Kimberly came to Kimberly from TransDev Health Solutions came to the Peak to Peak last summer. It's been a year now.
Mhm.
Um, we can see if we can get more training, Reba, if you feel like there's people who would qualify for Medicaid but haven't signed up for non-emergency medical transportation yet.
Okay. Yeah, that whole area has just been tricky for our group. So whenever we have a clearer picture of what it will all look like, I can make a more proper announcement of the process to
Okay,
them.
yeah.
Because
And if
one,
you
I
had,
did,
oh,
I just to give you, for example, I did bring in one person in the past who was going to be our transportation. He had a 15-passenger van. He was set up with the whole Medicaid and everything and had winter tires. And we introduced him to the group and everybody was so excited. And then everyone he put in his system weren't covered by his transportation. And
yeah,
then all of a sudden it was like, ah, that failed. But so I want to make sure we're giving them because it is confusing up here with transportation
yeah.
options.
So
And
I'm assuming it's going to be the similar case, Reba, like
mm,
that they wouldn't qualify for Medicaid if you've already tried it with a
yeah,
Medicaid provider
a
before.
lot of our people are not necessarily like on the poverty level.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah,
In
only a
that
handful.
case, yeah, in that case, then they wouldn't charge it to Medicaid, right? Because they're not
Right,
Medicaid covered. So then it would have to be covered by the volunteer program.
right. Okay. Makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so as far as the volunteer driver program, we'll be working with, we're still working with FHU to finalize the program framework. They're going to be creating some marketing materials, Tom. I don't know how much Grace told you about that.
She
Um,
told me, yeah, we got into that quite a bit in
okay,
the urgency of getting things rolling.
yeah, wonderful. Okay, it's exciting. So for the business Ecopass update, that will be me. And I kind of mentioned this before. So Melissa Hunter is working with the town of Nederland on both the Ecopass, the business Ecopass, and then the resident Ecopass program. They just got a new person. Her name's Holly. Is that correct, Tom? Yeah.
Mhm.
Holly. And so the town was using like Google spreadsheet to track everything, but we've basically worked with them to use Teams. So we have an external file, external folder on Teams that Melissa helped set up. And so she's working with Holly. They have like clear procedures documented, and then also just a process set up. So I think the resident program is going really well. And Holly's really adapting to like the new system, which is basically just an Excel spreadsheet versus a Google spreadsheet. And then Melissa is going to brainstorm with Nick and Landon as we transition, like how to promote the Business Ecopass program now. As I mentioned earlier, we're paying RTD 1,000. We're paying RTD for 1,200 users of the Ecopass. So we basically said that that's how many employees would sign up for the program, and we've really only had 300 to 400. I forget exactly the number that Melissa said. So after the NEPADAC meeting last week, Tom, I told Melissa that we'll need to talk to you all to see, do we want to put more effort into promoting it for next year and keep the threshold about what it is, or do we want to lower that threshold so it's going to be a cheaper contract? And then we would have to wait until, like, once we hit the cap, we'd have to wait and do a contract amendment to increase the amount. So that'll be a discussion that we'll have with NEPADAC. So how do we want to handle the fact that we're only, it's about a third, maybe a fourth?
I think we estimated high because we assumed we'd have an answer by now on Eldora.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the biggest employer in town by far.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll continue to give updates, especially as like my team gets more plugged into the NEPADAC. And then Tom, do you want to give an update on specifically with Eldora, like what the issue is?
Yeah, they spent obviously a lot of money to put in 8 parking lots two summers ago. The city of Netherland, or the town of Netherland, has made a bid to buy, but so have several other qualified vendors. We're pretty sure they're going to be in business for a 25-26 ski season. We don't know who the owners are yet, and therefore we don't know the management team. So it's kind of, we talked with the existing management team a couple of times. They're squarely on board because they want those lots reserved for skiers. But we're kind of in between right now.
Yeah. Thanks. And then also Melissa said that she worked with Holly to say if somebody's employer doesn't promote the Ecopass for them, they can come to the town with a proof of the fact that they work at a business in
Great.
Netherlands and get an Ecopass directly from the
Excellent.
town. Because they were having some challenges with like businesses not necessarily wanting to promote it to their staff, or not really. I mean, it's not that they didn't want to, it's just I think maybe they didn't have capacity, or I'm not sure exactly what the issue was.
Yeah, food pantry is probably able to help because I think what I'm seeing is the most dramatic increase is the working poor, people that have jobs in Ireland, but aren't paid enough to make ends meet. And so we see a couple hundred of those a week.
Yeah. That's
And
great. So I think we can maybe we can also have like the flyer, if you don't already have it, Tom, at the food pantry. Like if you
I see it right in front of me, and I'm
Oh,
here right
perfect.
now.
Yeah, great.
Oh, do you want me to hang up that? I mean, that's like kind of promoting at the community center, but my staff already knows, but they haven't necessarily followed through with the right, like to click onto their thing, even though I sent their information.
Yeah.
So that might be happening with a lot of people too.
Yeah, and there's a way that we can track it. So if you all haven't done, does VIA still have eco passes, Lisa? Do you have?
Yeah, for people
Okay.
that want them. Not
Okay.
everybody does, but if they want them, then yes.
Yeah, and I mean, because we oversee like 5 different EcoPass programs, for the county employees, for mobile home community, so just different ones. And that's a constant problem, is that it's a 2-step process. You have to create an account, and then you have to verify the account. And then whoever's administering the EcoPass has to issue the EcoPass to that verified account. So that two-step process has consistently been an issue, Reba, but we can maybe focus on some like clarifying like messaging around that maybe.
Sure. Yeah, mine took a little bit to get figured out itself. And just to circle back, Tom, when you were talking about, is Ned off the prospective buyer of Eldora? I misunderstood when you were talking.
No,
Okay.
they're not in the lead position.
Okay,
And of course, I'm not at the table, so this
Yeah.
is hearsay, but from pretty credible sources.
okay.
It was always hard for me to understand how a town with an $11 million budget is going to spend 250 for a ski area. That would be interesting finance, but I know it's heads
I
down.
heard that maybe bonds were going to be involved possibly, but
Yeah, that was the idea. I brought some folks to the table, others had too. But I think one of the things that having town involved did was bring qualified people to the table. A
cool.
lot of so there's it could go any number of ways, but I would be confident that there is going to be a transaction pretty soon.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks for the update.
That's great. Big news. Okay. So I think we're good with the business Ecopass update. Thanks for your like your contribution on that, Tom, as I'm like getting up to speed on everything. So next
We're going to be working together a lot.
Yeah, we're gonna be BFFs, just like me and Lisa. We're like on all the meetings together.
Riding mountain rides.
Yeah. So next we'll have general updates. So everybody can think about if there's any updates that they want to share. One that I want to share is that Mobility for All is doing a photo shoot, like for a multimodal photo shoot. So we're going to be focusing on people of all ages, abilities, and backgrounds as being models. In the photo shoot, we're going to focus on multimodal transportation. So we're going to do walking, biking, transit, paratransit, rolling if somebody's using a wheelchair. And we have 6 different cities that we're going to be, or 6 different locations that we're going to be taking photos at. So Netherlands going to be one. So think about models potentially, like people that use mountain rides or the other services that we want to highlight. Lisa will be reaching out to you all about getting some vehicles. It's going to be a 2-day photo shoot at 6 different locations. So we'll probably want to make sure that and the locations, sorry, are Netherlands, Gold Hill. So we want to do the Gold Hill climb, Lisa. Lions. So we want to do the taxi voucher program there as well, and as well as like Lions Flyer, Longmont, Boulder, and then I think we said Lafayette. So those are the 6 communities. So we will be looking for the transportation providers to be able to show up. I think the volunteer program, Tom, it would be good to have like local vehicles that we want to hight that are, I don't know if probably want them to be clean. I don't know. might be good.
Mine are clean.
Yeah. So we'll be looking for models that look like they're using the volunteer program, right? People who look like they're volunteers potentially, even though it's not ready yet. Also, if you know of anybody who bikes around Netherland, has a wheelchair that they use around Netherland, that would be good to know as well.
We could, we could do a lot of that here at the pantry. We have probably 3 or 4 wheelchair users that come through, and the bus comes through too.
Okay. Yeah, wonderful.
Did you
we're
say the
looking at-
date of that yet?
Oh, sorry, Reba, what?
What was the date of that photo shoot?
So we don't know when we're going to be in Netherlands yet, but it's going to be the 30th and the 31st of July.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah. So we'll follow up. I know, so Felipe, I'm not sure if you all know Felipe Mosqueda Yanez. He's one of our he's our outreach and engagement coordinator. So he's the project manager on it. So he'll be, we have a meeting tomorrow morning to solidify recruitment strategy, and then we'll give people a gift card for being a volunteer, right? So they'll get compensated for being part of the photo shoot. Any questions about that? Okay. We will provide like specific like guidance. I forget what they call it. The photographer is Studio 6, which I know Lisa, they did some photography for you all, but they'll have like some guidance on like what to wear. We're going to try to like have people bring things that they can like swap into so it looks like it's different seasonal. So maybe a puffy jacket or a jacket for like winter time will be up close. So we'll look at different creative ways to make it seem like it's all seasonal. I
Well,
don't,
you could, even in July, you can get all that the same day here.
yeah, yeah. Okay, we'll keep our fingers crossed. Make sure you book the weather for whatever day we're gonna be there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
all seasons in one day you might get.
Yeah. Well, then we'll be looking, and I know that Studio 6 they did say that usually people like it when there's like locals who are like kind of, they can recognize like I don't know, like that's Netherland and I know that person, right?
Mhm.
So yeah. So we'll be reaching out next month with a more concrete plan and more concrete ask. We'll probably have different slots, right? So we'll be doing biking and walking like this time. Like, can you find people to volunteer? So think about families, older adults, people with disabilities, if there's any ethnic or racial minorities that you can think of that would be interested potentially, just to show the diverse population.
Good. And then would it make sense to talk about or to have somebody representative of the business Ecopass or business Ecopass user? Or is that
Oh,
mixing
yeah.
apples and oranges?
Yeah, that could be great. Yeah, because then we could get some photos of somebody who, is commuting to
Mhm.
Netherlands to work. Yeah, yeah, that's great. So let
Okay.
me I'll make sure that we get that on the list.
Right.
And we may send the plan out after we have a draft, and then you all can like send it back like with
Mhm.
recommendations if we miss something. We want to make sure that we get stuff that's like iconic for your area, right? People know
Yeah.
that it's yeah.
Good.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other updates that they want to share with the team?
Just that, we're doing everything, Boulder County, and, for the weekends free,
Mhm.
for all of our service areas. That's including the weekdays and the weekends.
Great.
Weekends go till August 31st. That'll be the last day, but we are looking to present to our board a motion after the summer to keep the fairs gone and continue to be free for the regular paratransit services in Boulder County, Estes Park. I think that's about it, where we charge a fare. And so we're hoping that they will agree and vote on that so that we will stop having fares
Yeah,
for VIA.
Great.
yeah, that's
Lisa,
great.
is it free on RTD on weekends too?
No,
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
no.
I know Broomfield Flex Ride, is free. They always do the summer thing,
Yeah.
but no, I think that they ended up using that money for the kids, for the school
Right.
stuff. They switched it over to that, is my
Okay.
understanding.
Yeah. Well, and I think that the zero fare for better air bill did not have a fiscal note. So
Right.
anything that had fiscal notes due to like the Tabor constraints, they pretty much didn't even entertain like passing those.
Yeah.
So I think that actually the zero fare for youth was funded through the state like through the end of this August, maybe,
Uh-huh.
Lisa.
Yeah,
And
I
then
think
RTD is going to pick up funding it themselves. I think they're looking for other funding to help maybe offset it. But
Right.
at least internally, like I've heard that they're probably going to continue zero fare for youth, even though there's not statewide funding for it. I think it's been a pretty successful program for them, and it's
Right.
good to get people using it early so they know how to use it. But anything that's, I think that Broomfield actually apply, they get their own tip, sub-regional tip allocation because they're a county. So
Mhm.
each of the counties, they have like a sub-regional forum with Dr. Cog. So I think that that's how they're choosing to like spend their tip dollars that they get. And then like via you get it directly from Casta, which the Casta had some left over from last year. So I think that's why they're able to fund the zero fares through the end of
Mhm.
or through this season.
Yeah.
Great.
It's been very successful. Last weekend, we did 100 trips
Wow.
in
Yeah.
2 days. So
Wonderful.
That's great.
yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Okay, well, does anybody have anything else that they want to share with the group?
Well, I
Yeah.
just have to say, we used VIA for our older adult field trip activity. They
Mhm.
did the Golden Super Cruise, and they had a great time, and they always love their VIA driver. And they did try to give tips, and we're told that they don't accept tips, but you can donate to VIA. So my question is there a thing on the bus that has like a donation QR code, or I mean, like, because I know a lot of our people are wanting to like help support, the process of being able to utilize that transportation for free and go as a group, to these fun gatherings.
Yeah, there should be donation envelopes on all the buses. And so they can just take one and go ahead, mail it in or give it to the driver.
Okay.
And then they know to turn that in and it'll go towards donations.
Okay, well, I don't know who the driver's name was, but they had a great experience with that driver. I just wanted to say.
Yeah, Lisa sends the best drivers up here.
Actually, that's Bob that does that. So
Yeah.
although I think all of our drivers are
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, they must all be great.
Yeah, that they're a different breed, right? They're
Mhm.
not in it necessarily for the money, although everyone likes a paycheck, but
Mhm.
they do it because they care about their community and they want to give back, and it's very apparent in how
It's
they
very apparent. Yeah.
Our people feel it for sure.
Yeah. Hey, Reba, when you do that next time, I would love to get a picture and a little like short write-up to include in the Mobility for All newsletter.
Oh, sure.
Um,
I actually have some pictures from that specific
Oh.
event in the bus. They're
Yeah,
bus
perfect.
pictures.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm not sure if we have a program highlight this month. I'll ask Felipe because he oversees the newsletter. But if you want to send those to us with like a little write-up about like where you went and like how fun it was, it would be a good shout out to Via and to the Netherland area seniors.
Definitely. I'll send that to you.
Okay, perfect. Great. Well, thank you. I'll finish typing up the meeting minutes here and then we'll send them out probably towards the end of this week. But just thank you all. Oh, one other thing that I did want to mention is once the volunteer driver program is up and running and we
Mhm.
feel like we don't need to check in as much, I
Yeah.
would love to talk about changing the cadence of these meetings. I was thinking quarterly. But let me know what you all think, because I think, Bob, it seems like mountain rides is pretty stable. We don't need like those like small tweaks that we've been needing for a while. And then once the volunteer driver program is operating pretty smoothly, then I don't know if we need to meet as much.
That's the mark of success when we go to quarterly.
Yeah.
Right.
Bob, I
Hey.
see that you unmuted yourself.
Mhm.
I'm good.
Okay, great. Well, thank you all, and we'll send out the meeting notes, and I really appreciate everything that you do.
Okay. Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
Angel.
Bye-bye.
See y'all.
Bye.
Enjoy the summer.